America, Sackheads Radio. And listen, there are no people better on the air to give you the best in conservative talk than Sackhead Sean and Sackhead Clint. And we're working on the immigration papers for a certain other guy who happens to work here too. For those who are tuning in around the world to the best in late night conservative talk, Sackheads Radio.
Radio. Radio.
The best late night conservative talk show in America. In America.
And in this web was a large, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest spider I've ever seen.
Hi.
Hi.
You listen to the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network, live from the SHR World Headquarters.
Global. I prefer global headquarters.
Intergalactic Headquarters. Technically, it's right.
Technically, it's correct. Nobody can dispute that.
Right. We don't have a headquarters anywhere else in this world. Or out of it.
In the galactic
Exactly.
Sphere.
So it's
Or
technically
not.
the intergalactic headquarters for SHR Media.
SHR Media.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you so much.
I prefer global, just because it sounds green.
See, now you want to go back.
Well, here's why. Nobody knows if the universe is expanding or contracting. So if it's intergalactic and it's contracting, then SHR Media would, in fact, our sphere of influence would be shrinking. And that's not a happy thought. Whereas if we just say global, then it's not really shrinking because it's global. It is what it is.
What about galaxy renowned?
Galactically renowned?
Galaxy.
Galactically renowned galaxy.
Yes.
I don't think that would fit on the sweatshirts.
No, you know what? Arm to arm.
Okay, across the back.
Across the back. Across the front.
Across the front, even better.
That way when you go to hug, you can read the whole thing.
Right.
That would be outstanding. Sacco, get those shirts made up? Sacco's on it, ladies and gentlemen. Best producer in the world. By the way, I have a bone to pick with Sacco.
Is not here with us tonight.
No,
so
I
we
do have a
Sacco.
bone to pick with our engineer/producer, Sacco.
What? He's been doing a great job.
Last
We even
night
let
on-
him out of the cage.
Last night on Facebook, I get tagged late at night on a post. So
I don't even know what you're talking about.
It gives
right
me
now.
a little alert because,
I don't even know what sorcery you're discussing right now.
and it's from our good friend Sacco. So I
Okay.
said, well, this has to be important.
Right.
Let me look at it.
Okay.
It's a minute video. Essentially, it's this woman screaming,
Uh-huh.
a wall, and then it's an engineer and like her
So it's his bedroom.
manager. No. It's like a performing studio.
Oh, okay.
So while the woman's singing on the outside in the engineer studio with her manager, she sounds amazing. But the engineer's like moving buttons all over the place and like
Right.
just constantly, right?
Right.
They go through the wall inside, and she sounds like a cat being run over by a car.
Okay.
This goes on for several minutes.
I thought you said it was a 1-minute video.
It might have been 2.
Okay.
The point of it is that how hard sound engineers and producers work. And I'm fine with that until Sacco said in the post, this is what it's like to work with you two.
Whoa. Like YouTube? Like
No, you two, TWO.
What does it mean, YouTube?
Meaning we's
Like
peoples.
white people.
I don't know. But I think that's something we should clarify tonight. Oh, he's putting in the chat room, it was a joke. Oh, no, you can't throw it out there like that.
And here's the problem. That's the only voice he has because there is no microphone over there.
I just my feelings were hurt. You know, we've been so nice
My
to him.
feelings are hurt now.
We've been so nice to him the last few weeks.
Right.
What happens? He gets uppity.
He does get uppity.
He gets a little uppity. So you know
What's
what?
he going to be like in Vegas?
I don't know, but I can tell you for the remainder of the night,
Uh-huh.
there are some portions of the show that I'm going to talk way back here, and then there are other portions of the show,
And he's going to have to modulate
and he's going to
that.
have to modulate that.
I don't know what that means.
I
but it
wanna
sounded-
see-
It sounded correct.
I want to see him working hard, like the engineer in said video
Right.
was in.
But you should do like the Peter Brady squeaky voice thing, like just completely get
When
it
it's
messed up
time to change.
so that he has to tweak the whole
You see,
thing.
Sacco, Peter Brady was a character on a show called The Brady Bunch. It was a funny video. I actually got quite a laugh out of it. It was hard to actually dispute the fact that that's what it's like to work with us. Because all night we do just throw things at him, but that's his job, right?
That's his job.
Right, that's what I thought.
We get things thrown at us. They're called topics.
Yeah, and we have to...
And we have to deal with that. But he has things thrown at him, and it's equipment related. I don't know.
It's stuff.
It's stuff.
And he's just sitting all over there hairy and happy. So...
Working his magic.
I had a couple...
I have a bone to pick with Sacco.
Oh, no, it's going to be one of those nights.
We've asked him before to make a song.
Yes.
A Michael Moore song.
Yes. Hey, we have
From like a year ago.
Year and a half. No.
longer.
That might have been back in the BTR days.
And it never came.
It never came to fruition.
And he said he was going to.
Well, you don't even remember. I'm not going to tell you
Right.
now.
No,
No,
play it.
I'm going to play the angry wife right now. Well, if I have to tell you, it wasn't that important.
But it was really important to us.
It was, and
When was the last time you went to the counseling?
oh, it's trust me. Yeah, it was important to us, and I thought you would care enough. I really thought I just.
And
figured
why would we have to say anything for the last
I just
year and a half?
figured it
You
was-
should just know.
I figured it was going to be an epic production, and
Right.
it's just like movies take years to come out. I don't know if
Right.
songs take that long.
Well, what happened a year and a half ago?
Well, a lot did happen a year and a half ago. All right,
Nothing happened a year and a half ago.
what possibly could have happened
There was
a year and a half
nothing that
ago?
happened a year and a half ago that would have taken precedence over that. It's called throw yourself into your work.
Hey, I want to thank the second best newsman in the business,
Oh, you're welcome.
Dan Butcher, for all the hard work he's been doing on the
Oh,
Pundit Press updates.
You as a second man.
No, if you have a chance, top of every hour through the course of the day, Dan does a live news read and update, and he's not the second best newsman in the business for nothing, folks. And I just really want to
who's
give him
the
the
first
credit.
best?
It's up for debate. So moving right along.
No, let's debate it.
Moving right along.
No, don't shake your head no at me.
No.
And mouth it, and then wink and smile that little cute little grin of yours.
Moving right along.
Cute little grin.
My cute little grin. Nobody's actually ever said those words. Usually it's your fat face. That's usually how it's directed at me. Oh, man. Hey, did you hear about this?
No, I don't know what you're about to say, so I don't know.
Well, can you wait till I say it?
Yeah, I apologize. I thought we were having
Well,
a show here.
let's not
It's supposed
get-
to be that interaction thing.
Oh, I'm sorry. Back and forth.
Yeah.
Good call.
Thank you.
Did you hear about this?
I don't know. Did I hear about what?
The Obama administration excluding Iran from the 2015 threat assessment of the intelligence community?
So the intelligence community is threatened? What is that? Is that McCain?
According to this Pundit Press report from Dan, actually, Director of National Intelligence James Clapper admitted in a letter to several top U.S. senators that the Obama administration excluded references to the Iranian government, continued global terrorism threat, and the 2015 World Threat Assessment of the U.S. intelligence
His
community.
name was James Clapper. I would not want a venereal disease named after.
That would actually be blacksmiths
Smithing
and
something, right.
Um,
Or whitesmiths. We're all-inclusive here.
right, exactly.
They're just smiths.
So did his family do nothing but just sit around and applaud other people's hard work?
I don't know.
It's very progressive of them.
Very, very progressive of them.
What's your last name? Clapper. Oh, I get it. I'm going to have to do everything. Yeah, but I'll cheer you on.
Right. Or, again, the family line started something bad, right?
Right.
Where'd you get that from? You're the people that were
Right.
responsible for that.
Oh, you're the third hut on the left. Thanks.
Right.
Thanks. You know, we're not going to have
Appreciate
penicillin for another 150 years, right?
Right.
I appreciate that.
Thanks.
Hey, if you're not in live chat, get in live chat. Go to shrmedia.com. Click live chat and join the conversation. But what do you think about that? All of a sudden, we're in this nuke deal,
Uh-huh.
right? The rhetoric by Iran has not changed. This is my favorite part about all of this. It's not like Iran pulled a Gaddafi.
Hang on a second. That was perfect right there. You didn't have to go on. It's not like Iran.
Right.
And I'd be
Anywhere.
like, you're right.
Ever.
In your life.
Right.
Never.
This building could be
Unless
on
it was to
fire.
unless it was to a pizza buffet.
And I'd stroll on out. And I don't run to those. I just elbow people out of the way on the way there.
Right. You're like a charging rhinoceros.
No, that's given. They can run. I'm more like a
I said
charging manatee on land.
This is
The sea cow.
right. But there's no. They don't really have elbows. Then you kind of throw some elbows in there.
They just have flippers.
Right.
I kind of have flippers too, actually. Now that I'm looking at it,
flippers, it's
a land. Talking about death to America blowing us up, death to Israel blowing us up. We keep trying to make a deal with Iran over nukes, which we should not be doing anyhow.
right.
And then all of a sudden the administration comes out and says, well, doesn't say anything, just quietly removes them. And then when they get called on it, they're like, oh, well, yeah, we did. What's the big deal? Meanwhile, Iran is still one of the biggest sponsors of terror in the world.
Does that mean they get like a billboard or something?
I think they get an award every year at the Axis of Evil convention. It's like their own Grammys.
Okay.
You know, there's the red carpet.
I didn't know if it was like a ballpark, thing where they get like a whole billboard or a thing named after them.
No, they get the award every year. It's actually kind of cool to see Kim Jong-un roll up and all those guys, and
it's like the Grammys.
Yeah, exactly. They get interviewed on the red carpet, which is red for communism.
Right.
Putin's there. He's always hammered at these events. He always causes trouble. He's actually like their Kanye. He interrupts other people, and he's like, yo, North Korea, I know you guys had the best illegal rocket launch on the planet, but this year Iran had more bomb terrorist activity than you ever had. And actually, Iran, the tyrannies. That's the good name for it. Thank you, Ag. The tyrannies. We're talking about Iran. We're talking about terrorism. We know they're the biggest supporters still to this date. Hezbollah, Hamas, and they supply equipment to North Korea. We know that. They do trade with China we know that, and so on and so forth. So is this really the time, or is this framing the story and keep telling the lie until it becomes the truth approach? Is this the time that we should be pulling North Korea? And I know why. If we remove them from the terror list, maybe they'll come to the table and discuss nukes with us and be much more agreeable. But is this another systematic foreign policy failure by this administration?
Yes.
Or, I always have a second question.
I already chose one.
But you're going to let me finish.
I apologize. Please, continue.
Or a deliberate act to gain this world government approach, view, etc.
Well, I think...
It's deliberate, obviously. But
yeah, but that would be a failure. So really, I mean, it's
both
only
yeses.
one choice.
Okay.
They're both yeses.
I'm not arguing that at all. As a matter of fact, I agree with you wholeheartedly. But I was talking about the motivation behind it, and both fit that category. Yeah, I would agree with that. How dangerous is it?
Oh, it's extremely dangerous.
Okay.
Yeah, obviously, it's very, very dangerous.
I ask because I honestly have no idea what Iran is.
Because you don't run.
Right, exactly.
If you ran, you would know.
But
it's in the name, Sean.
This is something... it's in the name. This is something that, in my opinion, and again, we don't see this president come out and talk about anything important anymore. But this is something where I think this president...
I wish that we wouldn't see this president come out and talk anymore.
He doesn't talk about anything important. That's the worst part. But I think this is something that this deserves addressing the country from the president. Hey, just so you know, we're pulling Iran off the terror list, and here's why. And give us reasons. Not just do it...
But he doesn't have to. He is not facing another re-election. He's running around willy-nilly.
I'm sorry if I expect the president to act a certain way with his
But why do you expect that from this president?
I expect that from the president in general.
He does act that way with his people.
Exactly. It's the rest of us that we get in trouble with.
It's the rest of us that he doesn't act that way with.
But I expect more from the office. And even still, and it's not him, it's the office I expect more from. And I know that's stupid as well because he is the office right now.
And kind of along these lines, I was in San Diego the last few days. And while I was there, I saw 3 aircraft carriers that were in port. It was
all retired. All of them retired.
It was the Stennis.
They were golfing.
The Stennis.
Active.
The Carl Vinson.
Oh, that's active.
And the Reagan.
Crap, that's active too.
3 of them parked in San Diego Harbor at the base there. and I took a picture and I sent it,
Yes, you did.
and I said, yeah, because there's nowhere else in the world that these could be useful right now.
Well, what you don't realize is they were in for happy hour.
Right? And, how often do you see 3 aircraft carriers anyway?
Very rarely. Very rarely.
I've never seen 3
Together.
carriers right.
Together is even more strange. We kind of.
Right, when's the last
I
time-
thought we learned our lesson.
When's the last time John Stennis, Carl Vinson, and Reagan hung out?
Right.
It's been a while.
And I know the odds are incredible, but I really thought we kind of learned our lesson of having a bunch of important ships in one port together. I call me crazy.
In one place.
In one place. I thought we may have learned a lesson with that.
Right, and here's the weird part. The Japanese also had 3 ships there, and I took pictures of them. So the Japanese were there. Why would we have important ships there with them? Did we not learn our lesson before?
That is outstanding. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I got pictures right here.
The only thing that would be better would be if the Japanese Air Force was training down there.
And they might have been. Hang on, I haven't shown you this picture, so I'm going to show you this picture live on air. But here's the first one parked in front. You can see the Japanese flag.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then swipe. There's the other
that's
2.
great.
And then swipe again. You can see even better the Japanese flag.
It's almost like
Right?
maybe it was Recreation Day.
I don't
know.
I don't know. But
That is just amazing.
and what was even better?
Who does that?
And what was even Obama? And what was even better is more like you could spit to it was the Midway, the museum. So first of all, you not only have 3 important ships together with the Japanese because hey, we've been here before, like you said, but 2. You have them parked next to a ship named after a battle where we kicked their ass. with a flight deck full of planes that we did it with.
Oh, that's just amazing.
So I thought that was it. Now here, I actually felt bad at one point because, and again, I was actually embarrassed. As an American, I was embarrassed, and this is a true story. I was walking down along the port, passing the Japanese ships, and I thought they were awesome. I took pictures. I just showed them to you, and guarding the gate to go down the pier to get to these 3 military warships. Granted, they were not from our country, but there was one security guard, and this guy looked like 30 pounds of excrement stuffed into a 10-pound bag.
Receptacle.
Uniform shirt, and it was a security guard. No knock against security guards, but this one was a security guard. It wasn't a police officer. It wasn't an MP. It wasn't anybody who was armed. It was one lowly security guard with his mesh baseball-style hat kind of cocked to the
trucker
side,
hat.
and his shirt kind of half untucked, and just kind of had this kind of dumpy appearance to him. And he was the only one guarding this gate. And this group of tourists, I assume they were tourists, came up to him and they were asking a question. He was engrossed in dealing with them. And what I assumed was a Japanese military officer comes up, and he's in civilian clothes, and he has his ID card out. And it looks like some sort of military-style ID. And he's showing his ID card. He's attempting to show his ID card to the security guard. And the security guard has no idea this guy's there. Like, this guy could have easily walked right behind him through the open gate because the door was propped open with the security guard there, and walked over to the ships and done whatever, because I didn't see anybody on deck of the ships. Now, they may have been there, but I didn't see anybody on deck of the ships, and you could see that from the pictures I showed you. This guy stands there for a good minute and a half with his ID card out, and he has this look on his face like, are you kidding me? And the security guard has no idea, and then he turns around, he stops dealing with the people, and he turns around, and this guy now is standing at his back, about a foot away, with his ID card being shown to the back of the security guy's head. And this Japanese military member, again, I assume he was an officer, he kind of flips the ID card around and kind of careens his head around to gain this guard's attention, and the guard just kind of nods, and the guy walks down the pier to the ships. I was so embarrassed because, first of all, they're our allies now.
Uh-huh.
And granted, that was probably their entire Navy because I think that's all that we allow them to have. now is those three destroyers or cruisers, whatever they were, and that's what we have guarding access to their ships. Like, couldn't we have provided a police officer? Couldn't we have provided Homeland Security, federal police officer, to guard that gate? Somebody armed that maybe could help control access to a foreign ally's warships while they're in our port. I was actually embarrassed by that.
How about... I get nothing.
What do you have? What are you going to say to that? I wish I was making this up.
Can you imagine?
But who in Department of Defense says, oh, yeah, you're going to park some warships? Yeah, come on over. You train with us, whatever. Park your warships. You dock them here. It'll be great. Oh, yeah, we're going to give you Earl. No
Hank.
offense if your name's Earl.
Hank.
But we're going to give you Paul Blart.
That would have been an improvement.
It would have been an improvement, actually.
So Stu... Stu's going to be guarding the ships tonight.
Right.
Can Stu see? Well, once he puts on his special goggles, usually he has a good 7-8 feet.
Right. Usually he can make out shapes.
Right.
He'll be able to know if it's a person or not.
Does he get a gun? Nope. We give him a whistle.
Right, because not even a whistle, because he likes to play. He thinks it's a musical instrument.
Right.
No
At 3
pepper
o'clock
spray.
in-
This guy's belt was bare. I'm like, no pepper spray, no baton.
It's not our ships.
No, that's my point, right? Who cares? Take the Japanese ships.
That's like when you walk up
There's
to
no ammo on there.
That's like when you walk up to a car and it's all wide open and parked next to yours, and you're like, "Yeah, well, mine ain't getting stolen." They're just walking away, you know.
I don't know.
Hey,
Who does that?
guys, we're going to take over the Stennis, and it looks like there's 15 SPs standing on the ground, and it looks like they have maybe a recovery. The Japanese ships have the keys in the ignition.
Right. Nobody's there.
Let's just
we
jump
can,
them and
we
go.
can steal those ships and sail them over
Right.
to where these 3 carriers are.
Right, let's do something
We'll
with
be able
it.
to do something.
We
How scary was I was so embarrassed. I was like, I was actually, and then being completely serious right now, I was almost ashamed
yeah.
at how that is, because I would think that we could supply somebody who is professional in appearance, somebody who would be serious about the security of
Protecting the ships.
protecting those warships.
Yeah, they are warships, whether you want them to be or not. You know,
Right, and it's San Diego, so they're good. It's not like San Francisco, right?
right.
Where they'd give somebody like a squirt gun or something to help protect the ships with, or I don't know, something. Not squirt guns because climate change and drought. We don't want to waste water here in California.
Exactly. Just
Like a jelly bean gun.
No, like
something.
like a potato gun.
No, because that could actually kill somebody.
Right, that could hurt somebody.
Like a rubber band gun. No, because rubber band, they don't.
Petroleum
Petroleum
gas.
products.
We don't
Yeah,
like gas.
I like jelly bean.
Yeah.
Jelly bean guns.
Jelly bean guns are pretty good. Hug guns.
Yeah. Hug guns.
Hug guns.
Flower guns.
Well, you know,
Like the EPA.
by the way, a marshmallow gun. Egg in the chat room says, you missed your chance to jack an aircraft carrier for us, and you blew it.
Now, hang on a second. I'm going to defend Sean on this one, because when I sent the picture and comment, Sean immediately shot back. Sean immediately shot back. Perfect. Maybe we can borrow one since they're not doing anything with them. So it was attempted. Like the
It was thought of.
definitely was
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
Absolutely.
To go back to this and listen, you look at places.
And I have one more thing.
Okay.
I'm not saying we had anything to do with this, but the next day, one of the carriers was gone.
Well, yeah,
Now, I'm not saying that NSA is watching our phones or messages or emails.
but they
that we
bounced
send,
it out,
But
and it went out in a hurry.
It did go out.
They didn't even wait for tugboats, which is very
No.
strange for a ship that size.
Right,
They pulled straight
and
away.
there was an apology to SHR Media, which I thought was kind of strange.
Right. Well, why would they even do that? That's kind of
Yeah,
odd.
I don't know. Or not, but either way.
Look at you. You look at some of the places in this country that we have good armed protection, either security or whatever. When another nation is visiting, never mind the threat to the actual equipment itself.
Right.
That's a big deal to be concerned.
Right, because how embarrassing would it be if there was an attack on
That's
a
exactly
foreign,
where I'm going. Somebody gets on that boat and sinks it, blows it up, does something. Doesn't matter how.
damages it, whatever.
Right.
Right.
What a mark on the face of our nation.
Some hippie
What does that
gets
say
on
to
and-
our allies?
Some hippie gets on and paints a big,
Yeah,
flower on
the
it.
war protectors, the whale protectors jump on and hijack it to stop. And they actually, those eco people would be a threat because they don't like the Japanese because they do whaling over there.
Right.
That would be a legitimate concern.
Right.
That would be something.
Or they paint the entire ship to look like the Mystery Machine from Scooby-Doo.
All right, that would be awesome.
That actually would be awesome, and if that happens, Japan, it was not us. I apologize.
But you know what, Japan? If that happens, you rock it.
And please send a picture
Yes.
to Sean at shrmedia.com.
Please, that would be
because
outstanding.
we want to post it. Can you Photoshop that? Is there even such a thing as Photoshop or
Yeah.
some program where you could paint like... I'll tell you what, Sako, I'll send you a copy of one of these pictures. Can you make it look like the Mystery Machine?
Sure.
Awesome.
Sako's Googling Mystery Machine.
It's not that thing at the adult store, Sako, that you came home with. That's
yet-
called a fleshlight, something different.
But you know, it shows you though in this country where our priorities are. There are a lot of things that need to be protected that aren't. And we talk about infrastructure here all the time. We talk about soft targets, etc.
Right, like the climate needs to be protected. Like
I know legit
What?
actual targets.
Oh, okay.
Shopping centers, sports arenas, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This falls under one of those. And you know, we can talk about the foreign, how it just looks. It looks horrible. But people don't realize that the eco-terrorists that are out there, Elf, the
Great
Save the
show.
Whales, all that
Great
stuff.
show. Gordon Shumway.
Gordon Shumway. Hey, anyone seen the cat? They will do things like that. They will absolutely. These are people that still, up until 10 years ago, firebombed places.
Yeah.
It's really a threat, and it shows you how little. And in the land of ISIS, everything. It only takes 4 or 5 people that think they've sailed a boat to try it. They only have to try. They don't have to be successful. In the land of ISIS and all that, and I'm sure
Would they probably
no.
But could they get on board and do some damage?
Millions of dollars of
Have
damage.
Some, have some embarrassing incident that happens in one of our.
And I'm
ports.
sure there was garrison guards on board. But even
I don't know if they're allowed to have guns though. There was that whole World War II thing, right?
no, they're allowed to.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely allowed to. As long
Okay.
as they don't leave shore, as long as they don't leave the boat with them, then they're still on their own hallowed ground.
Yeah, but I meant like they're military. Are they allowed?
No,
to
they're
have
allowed
guns? Okay.
But you know, it's one of those things to me that even
What if the guard's name was Boyington?
and they had to yell it every single time they needed something from the top of the boat. How great would that be? Maybe that's the whole reason he was there. Somebody had a sense of humor.
Somebody had a sense of humor.
Oh,
That
Boyington! This never gets old.
It doesn't.
You just see a whole bunch
know,
of WW2 guys just killing themselves laughing.
I actually did do some research on this, but they could have done like a reimbursable contract with the local cops,
Of course.
or something to guard that.
What
Or like
they
I said,
have
Homeland,
DoD
Homeland Security. They're not doing anything.
They have
anyways.
DoD security guards that they have at every single base that are armed and pretty good guys. So you
Yeah.
could have just popped one over there, even just one. But I digress. We're up against a break. When we come back,
We got stuff.
we got a ton
I
of
want
stuff
to talk
about.
I want to talk about the new healthcare bill making its way through
Yay!
California.
Oh,
No, not yet. It's only going to cost us like $115.4 billion.
Hey, instead of buying water, we can buy somebody else's healthcare. We'll be back
$132 million a year once it's fully implemented. It'll be great.
right here on the Sack Kids Radio Show live on the SHR Media
by
Network.
corrupt politicians.
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
A team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean.
Dude, I'm not saying cow for the stupid promo.
Sackhead Clint.
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
Also starring Sako as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
This is Tammy Jackson, inviting you to join me on The Tammy Jackson Show every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Pacific on the 405radio.com. Put down that remote and tune into the show that covers politics, guns and the Second Amendment, religious liberties, sanctity of life, the military, and more. I host newsworthy guests and work hard to be a conservative radio show that's not like all the others. So save Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific for me, Tammy Jackson, on the 405media.com.
Who listens to the Andrea Kaye Show? Let's find out as we eavesdrop on listener Roger Johnson in Encinitas.
You know, if our policy is going to be bring any child who comes across the border and says coordination, we have to take them in.
Okay, so apparently Roger fell asleep in the middle of my brilliant political tirade, and now he plans to sue me because I put him on the air, sleeping. Obviously, he's a liberal.
Snoring, not an option while listening to the Andrea Kaye Show, Tuesday mornings at 11 on Financial News and Talk.
You know I'm right. Y'all know I'm right.
Hello, I'm Matt, a student at Hillsdale College. Here is Hillsdale President Larry Arnn on the continuing relevance of the Constitution.
Many argue today.
What?
No, it's going to cost us a whole lot of money. So there's a budget deal between Governor Brown and the legislative leaders right now. It's going to make California, this is huge. Do we have any kind of celebration music or anything? Like a drum roll, Sacco? We used to. Sean deleted the drum roll. Hey, way to pass the buck and not take responsibility, sound guy. So it's going to make California the first state.
What happened was
we are going to be a first.
Oh, I love it when we do this.
We are going to be the first state in the nation that is going to offer state-subsidized health care to children
of veterans.
No.
Oh.
Who are
So, do you have a music that sounds something like wah, wah, anything like that?
We used to, but I think Sacco deleted it. So it's obviously going to pass the state senate and the state assembly here.
Oh, it's going to. You kidding me? This is
going to happen before July 1st, which
it's going to go through like grease lightning.
Yeah,
nobody's going to oppose this in the Senate or any part of the assembly.
Well, the Republicans will, but it's not. It doesn't matter in this state,
right? But it's not going anywhere.
This is going to be approved prior to the fiscal year, which begins July 1, and. Gosh, you know they're saying that this is good because the feds won't do anything about it. Now, I want to make a side note here. We are believers in the 10th Amendment,
yes,
and I believe the state has the authority to do this. Although the caveat to that is we are spending taxpayer dollars on non-U.S. citizens, but immigration is a federal issue. And if the state wants to spend state money on this, then I believe the 10th Amendment allows us. So I believe this to be constitutional, but I believe it to be a horrible idea.
Well, it's a typical horrible idea.
The cost of the taxpayers is going to be $40 million.
Oh, is that all?
The first year.
Oh.
And it's expected to reach about approximately $132 million per year.
How many people are in the state of California?
Once it's fully implemented. $132 million, and this is the projection. Now, you know how things go in the state of California. If the projection is $132 million a year,
$200 billion.
It's probably going to be $200 million, right? It's probably going to be $170 to $200 million per year. Republicans in the state are saying, "Hey, this isn't going to help illegal immigrants get access to doctors because there is a shortage of providers who accept Medi-Cal."
Right. Absolutely.
Perfect. Thank you. So what it's going to do is potentially grow lines.
Well, yeah.
Right? Or just keep them going to the ER like they do now.
Right.
It's just one more thing. I mean, Governor Brown approved the driver's licenses for criminal aliens. So they can drive in the state of California.
Now they have health care. Free health care.
Just the children. Why do you hate children?
Well, no, it's not the children. It's the precedents because we know it won't stop with just the children.
Why do you hate children?
We know it won't stop there.
We know it's not going to stop there. What if we spent $132 million per year on like a work for welfare program?
Well, Clinton, you have to realize that the $30 million the first year is
40.
less. $40 million is
Right.
about $1 a person. So, aren't you willing to pay $1 to help a poor, starving child?
No. Yes, if they're from our country.
And
because I would rather feed and provide health care if we're going to do this, which I don't think we should anyways. But why not provide it to our citizens first?
Well, see, you're using
For
logic and
132
reason,
for
and that's not an argument in
For
California.
$132 million a year, let's build more prisons.
Ooh.
Right?
I am all for that.
There's an overcrowding
I have
issue.
said this time and again.
Seriously, what has the you look at California is just so crazy right now with the criminal justice system, but build more prisons. Oh, we're letting non-dangerous offenders go. No, because you're not taking into account their violent history, just what they're currently incarcerated on.
Yeah, but they're nonviolent.
They're nonviolent. They don't commit any crimes. Oh wait, they've actually committed.
Here's my problem with
heinous-
this. We live in a
heinous
state.
crimes.
We live in a state right now in California, which, as I call it, is the progressive petri dish of America. And I say this all the time, but I have to repeat it. A lot of the wacko liberal ideas that get spread across this country start in this state, especially when they're government wacko liberal ideas. And they get ushered through this state because of the redistricting that it was done, and liberals have all the power. Hopefully that's going to change soon.
Why wouldn't they come to our state? They get free tuition.
Right.
Now they get free health care for their kids. They can get a job. They can drive. Why would they not come to California? And, hey, folks, we have a water shortage problem here.
Huge water shortage.
And now you want to bring
More.
more people into this state?
Absolutely. You want to drive more illegal immigrants here when we don't have it.
We already have problems in our in terms of overcrowding in classrooms.
Right.
Now we're going to bring more.
And this money could.
And what about the quality of education? Where how many
Through the
teachers have
floor.
you and I talked to that have said, "Well, I can't spend time with my students teaching them because I have to spend time with my students that English is not their first language."
Right. I have to more attention for them.
Right.
And you know.
And now we're going to have more.
This is just ridiculous to me. This money would be well spent on water storage, the thing that was approved 1 million times, and we're in a humongous drought. There's a bunch of things that this. How about infrastructure for these crumbling roads in the state that are literally
Third
crumbling?
worst in the nation.
Third
something like that?
worst in the nation. And have the heaviest traffic than any other country. And not just in LA and stuff, but what people don't realize is the biggest north-south route on the West Coast is I-5, Interstate 5, from Canada to Mexico, one of the biggest trucking lanes in the world. It's where a lot of our everything we need gets shipped in and shipped out.
Well, here's the problem. Governor Brown did announce that he is calling 2 special sessions that of the legislature that are actually supposed to address how California pays for roads and infrastructure. And Medi-Cal.
Well, yeah, I mean, you could throw that right in.
$5.7 billion annual.
But I want to show the
repairs,
hypocrisy and the
Brown
insanity of this state.
Did you 5.7 billion.
Billion with the B.
Yeah.
I want to show the insanity of the state a little bit because as we're talking about spending all this money on illegals, in the same week, Governor Brown and the State Water Resource Board is talking about shutting off the water to a city in Northern California. It's a community called Mountain House. It's about an hour inland from San Francisco. And they're essentially, because of the water rights and everything else and other places are closing down, they're essentially going to shut off their water to a community, to a city, to an entire city. They're going to shut their water off. But we will give health care to illegals.
Right.
Think about that. Taxpayers.
And we'll continue to dump water to flush the delta because we don't want salt water interfering with that.
Taxpayers. These people who own these houses pay taxes on them.
And have water usage rights since like 1903.
Yes. 1914. No, yeah. 1914. Can you imagine if you were living in a town that you pay for the infrastructure, you pay for the police, fire, you pay for the city government, all this other stuff, and you move there on goodwill that your water will never be shut off by the state government. And on one page of the newspaper you're reading, oh, holy crap, they're going to shut off our water in the town we live in. I've paid my bill. What the hell? Oh, this is horrible. Follow more on page 8. Page 8. Town water shut off. Millions of illegals to get free health care. What in the hell is going on? How could any... It's like we live in a friggin' third world country. We have no infrastructure here. We have no water infrastructure. We have all these issues.
We haven't added to water infrastructure since like the 1970s.
Right. And it's been approved for 10 years to be built.
And what's the population in this state grown? Huge.
Yeah, 30%, 40% since the 70s. Now, you're looking at 38 million people.
The state also now has a budget surplus. So are we going to spend it on water projects, or are we going to maybe save it for when there's no more surplus? No, we're going to add $749 million in new spending.
When people so close to the Pacific, so far away from water, it's true.
Right.
And it's amazing that we had a call, and people and this tells you how insane we are in this state. It just further and further. So a representative from Israel came over here, a desalinization expert, to discuss desalinization here. Now, we are dry. We're running out of water, not because of global warming or global change or climate global or global something insanity, because we refuse to accept the fact that most of the state was built in the desert and that we have to pipe water to it. And we've grown so much that so much more water gets used. We haven't, like you said, since the 70s, we haven't made adjustments for it. So they say, hey, you know what? We've had this plan on the table for over 10 years to have a desalinization plant built and do water storage and damming.
We also, on a side note to that, we also have agriculture that has dried up in this state
and died completely.
Right. Yeah, there's a dust bowl. If you go drive down I-5, say from Sacramento to L.A. to Los Angeles, there's a huge dust bowl in the middle of the state because we don't allow the agriculture there to water. We've lost agriculture, and it used to be huge.
So everyone in the state's complaining, environmentalists, non-environmentalists, everyone's complaining about the water. Even the environmentalists, I've talked to a few who's like, yeah, we should have done more. That's not a disputed fact outside of state government in California. So they bring in this specialist from Israel, the people who really have led the charge on desalinization in this country, because that's where they get a majority of their water from, is the ocean, through desalinization. And there are people there protesting him because he is from Israel. I want you to understand this. The person who's coming to try to help us through this drought and perhaps save food all over the place. We say, California, you have no idea how much food it provides for the entire nation. Never mind here. I didn't know until I moved here. It's incredible. Finally, somebody was smart enough and got off their duff and said, well, we should probably call somebody who knows what the hell they're doing. Hey, Israel, can you send us a specialist? Israel, being the nation that they are and the people that they are, said, yeah, you know what? We get the number one guy in the world on desalinization. He's on a plane in a few weeks for you. Thank you. The idiots in this country, in this friggin' state, show up and protesting him. First of all, this guy's a desalinization expert. It's not like he's a war expert and he's here to discuss how to bomb a territory or something like that. Nothing to do with that.
It's to get us water.
It's to get friggin' water into the mouths of, I don't know, starving illegal immigrants, starving Californians, starving people, crops that are starved from water, all these different things. And people show up with protest signs because he is Israeli. If that isn't cutting off your nose to spite your face, I don't know what the hell is. And that's the mental illness that I really believe is rampant with progressives in this state and all over the world. But that shows you how they will sacrifice themselves for the cause. And they'll protest anyone from a country which, that by and large, is so bigoted. Oh, he's from Israel? He must want to kill Palestinians. Yeah, dude, I just turned salt water into fresh water for you to drink. Yeah, bull. You must be turning the fresh water in Palestine into salt water. You're a desalinization expert, and you're here to kill us in Palestine. I've never even been to Palestine. I hang out in the ocean. Nope. You're an angry, evil Zionist. Do you want water or not? Oh, yeah, we need water. All right, well, I'm here to help you. Yeah, we want your friggin' help. Welcome to California.
Welcome to Obama's United States.
Yeah, and that's what's happening as we go further.
Wait, that
and
was
further.
Obama you were talking about.
Right, he was leading the protest. It was the strangest thing.
It was weird.
Secret Service had to carry a sign for him because he can't carry anything himself. He actually had a Marine holding an umbrella to shade him from the sun and carrying his cold water. It was strange.
So last week we did a story on the TSA. We've actually 2 weeks in a row. we did how horrible that.
God bless the TSA. That
right.
should be the song for them.
Don't think when I went through airport security that I didn't say 96% as I walked by them at the airport when I flew down to San Diego because I'm a jerk. But the TSA told Congress, this is great. Do you remember we talked about the 73 airport workers that had unspecified terrorism ties?
Yeah.
Well, the TSA...
How could you forget about that?
This will make you feel better.
Oh, they're on it.
According to an Associated Press report, the TSA administration said that none of the 73 airport workers were found to have unspecified ties to terrorism, that they're actually suspected terrorists, nor are they a threat to aviation security.
Oh, so everything's
good.
all cool
right,
now.
Everything's cool. The TSA's Deputy Assistant Administrator, Stacy Fitzmaurice, there was a review done, which is good. I don't know by who. But they concluded that they were not a threat.
There was a review done.
So everything's fine.
So
everything's fine. This was yesterday at a House Homeland Security Subcommittee hearing.
They pulled out a guy whose nickname is Flick.
Right.
And they were hey, we have 73 people. We want you to do backgrounds.
Here's the best part.
I'm a janitor.
Here's the best part. She says they did an independent review.
Oh, thank goodness.
That's right. But then she says we're still working on getting full access to the U.S. intelligence database used by.
So how could you do a full investigation if you didn't have access to that?
No, Margot.
That is the most amazing. We did a full independent investigation. Oh, so you actually got into the database you need to check this? Oh, crap. No, we haven't gotten there yet. No. We just asked these guys if they were terrorists. All of them said no.
Did I say full investigation? It was just a review.
It really depends on what your definition of full is.
Right.
For us, it was pretty full.
We've already said that 4 is our standard.
Right.
And that's kind of where we put our standard for our review.
Here's how we did it. Have you ever seen the movie with Ben Stiller and De Niro? When Ben Stiller's the son-in-law?
Yes.
Meet the Fockers or whatever?
Yes.
You know the lie detector thing that De Niro does?
Yeah.
That's what we did on those guys?
And we did it by watching the movie to make sure we did it correctly.
Right, because he did that scientifically. All of them passed. All of them passed. Even the guy that was carrying the bowling ball that had the flares tied to it because he likes to bowl in the dark, he said?
Right.
Passed. No problems.
Passed. It wasn't a big deal.
And that guy is punctual. He's got a clock on that thing.
Because he wants to show up for work on time and make sure he doesn't exceed
He's actually
his break
just a good American. And we misunderstood that.
Good worker. And workers have rights.
Workers do. Don't get me going on workers and rights.
What?
Workers do have rights. Yeah, everyone's got rights. But you don't have the right to be an a-hole and bleed everything dry.
Right.
There's a difference.
Right.
Jerks. Don't get me going on workers' rights. Are you kidding me? I wake up screaming SEIU in the middle of the night. Workers have rights. Yeah, you have the right to do your job and get friggin' fired. Workers have rights. But so, it amazes me how that can, and this is just prime example, though, of what this administration does. They show you what they think you want to see, and most people go, oh, I'm really happy with that. I trust those guys now. Well, the reality is they couldn't have done the investigation. They didn't have access to it.
I have a feel-good story for you. This will make you, since I know you're angry. You're an angry little man right now. Do you remember Robert Gibbs?
Little.
Do you remember Robert Gibbs?
Yeah, he was a man of the people.
Right. This will make you feel good. He is now working at McDonald's.
$15 an hour, baby. Good for him.
He's the executive vice president, global chief communications officer.
Really, for McDonald's, that evil corporation?
Right.
Didn't he work for Obama in the left? Not Obama, but wasn't he a big leftist?
Yeah.
He believes in this equality and how big corporations, and we are the 99%. That's like his group, right? He hangs out with those people.
Right.
And he's working for McDonald's.
But he's like he's an executive vice president, global chief communications officer.
Gibbs.
I just want to see him in his little McDonald's hat.
Dude.
Little McDonald's
You know
shirt.
what? If I was the CEO, and this is how I think, and I'm sure this isn't what happened, but I'm the CEO of McDonald's, and I'm like, get me Gibbs. What? Yeah, make up some BS job, communications director, $15 billion a year, whatever. Get him in. And like day 2, we're going to be like, all right, it's time to go for training. And you bring him down to a local McDonald's and be like, we'll be back in 8 hours. Make sure you can work the fry later and walk away.
Right.
And then give him his walking papers at the end of the day and be like, yeah, screw you for trying to hurt our business. Capitalism, screw you. You just got fired because of capitalism. You did a horrible job and you were on probation. Bye.
See, I don't like that. I just like making him work a fryer.
You do for one day.
Just all the time, every day.
Yeah, but you make him work.
Don't I have executive vice president stuff to do? Yeah, go make French fries.
No, he does it for one day, and you fire him and say he wasn't good enough to work a fryer later.
Severance package.
No, he doesn't have to. You don't have to give severance.
Then he sucks the teat of the system by getting unemployment.
Well, that's okay. Dude, how great would it be if Gibbs was on unemployment?
But then unemployment, isn't it based on salary, and now he's an executive
But you only get a
vice president,
percentage anyhow.
big,
Nope.
yeah.
Nope. It would still be worth the embarrassment alone of Gibbs would be worth every minute for me.
I think it's good enough.
But it's a flaw in an exploitation of the left.
I just think it's a great story.
Oh, it's an amazing story. Talking about a guy who was
From
able
White
to,
House press secretary to McDonald's.
I just really think it's awesome, the hypocrisy of the left and how this actually makes it through without people going insane. And meanwhile, McDonald's just had that big meeting in Chicago. And for those who don't know, McDonald's is test bedding, and I think in Phoenix is one of the first places, a fully automated ordering system where there's like 2 or 3 people working in there.
So then it is good Gibbs is there to help kill jobs.
Yes.
Perfect.
He does exactly what the left does best. He's going to help kill some of the jobs.
I may have to like never buy McDonald's again if they're going to take jobs and make it all automated.
Oh, no, I don't blame them because now with the big push for $15 an hour.
Well, that's true. And you don't have to pay a machine health care.
Right, or anything.
Until robots become like humans.
Well, by the way, a new Terminator movie's coming out. Anyhow, but no, it's one of those things that the left is forcing these people out of jobs by raising minimum wage, and people turn around. If I'm a small business owner or any business owner, I would turn around and be like, yeah, I'm going to find a better way to skin this cat. I am not paying the dude who has his finger up his nose and can barely make sure that the top bun and the bottom bun is on the same burger, $15 an hour. EMTs make $15 an hour.
Hey Gibbs, I want you to memorize this. Bun, burger, bun.
Bun, burger, bun. Bun, burger, bun. Stop saying bun, burger, bun. Bun, burger, bun, Gibbs.
Bun, burger, bun.
Just call him at 3 in the morning, bun, burger, bun. 4 in the morning, bun, burger, bun. Just nonstop. Yeah, you're on call. 24/7, Gibbs, just in case there's a major McDonald's emergency. Ring, ring. Bun, burger, bun. I think that would be amazing, huh? Sacco says McDonald's sounds good right now. I'll take a quarter pounder. But yeah, I'll put money into Gibbs' pockets right now. But the left is creating this, and then they hire Gibbs. This is just awesome to me. This is the story that makes my day better.
See? You're welcome.
I'm glad you shared that with me.
And I told you this.
The only thing that would be better would be if Al Gore went to work for ExxonMobil as like their chief drilling officer.
Chief drill, that'd be Clinton.
No, he would...
Sorry.
He'd be human resources and hiring of interns. Welcome to Victoria's Secrets, Mr. Clinton. What are you here for? The interview for HR and hiring. I pay $13 an hour. Yeah, I got a little bit more work to do. I'd just like to be with the people. Is she next? You know? Oh, man, that is just amazing to me. Who else could we have outstanding... Francis Fox Piven. What job can we find Francis Fox Piven? Has to be something that creates money and actually creates wealth.
Something that creates wealth?
Yes.
Recycler.
Recycler. No, that would be too close to her. She'd be like, oh, no.
But it creates wealth for people that go through and take cans out of your trash cans on trash night.
Right. You know what? I say it all the time. At least those guys are doing something. They're better than a lot of other people out there. Right. I give them a lot of... I'm not cleaning porta potties. I like that one. I'm not happy when they make a mess. That drives me crazy.
Ooh, hang on. Make her polish the boots of military personnel.
There you go. I like where you're going with that.
Federal boot polisher.
It's a federal government job. It's the ultimate dream, right?
Ultimate dream for federal boot polisher.
What they don't tell her is that it's like rubber boots that are on like vehicles. Right. So it's all covered in grease and everything. Right. I thought they were going to be boots. Oh, no, yeah, there is. This is on the axle. It keeps the water from going into the engine. And I want that thing shiny, Francis. So get your little disfigured fingers and just get in there. And we're going to pay you exactly what we think you're worth, about $3 an hour.
But it's the Obama administration. It's pay her a lot more than that.
Right, I'll pay her $4,000
right.
an hour. Now there's a job that starts on the ground floor. Ken says, I absolutely agree, Ken. It starts on the ground floor. Oh, we're up against a break. When we come back...
Stuff on the SHR Media.
More stuff here on SHR Media. We're all over the road tonight, kids.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians.
You got a business. You didn't build that.
A team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean.
Dude, I'm not saying cough for the stupid pro.
Sackhead Clint.
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
Also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
This is Tammy Jackson, inviting you to join me on The Tammy Jackson Show every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Pacific on the 405radio.com. Put down that remote and tune into the show that covers politics, guns and the Second Amendment, religious liberties, sanctity of life, the military, and more. I host newsworthy guests and work hard to be a conservative radio show that's not like all the others. So save Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific for me, Tammy Jackson, on the 405media.com.
Who listens to the Andrea Kaye Show? Let's find out as we eavesdrop on listener Roger Johnson in Encinitas.
You know, if our policy is going to be bring any child who comes across the border we have to take them in.
Okay, so apparently Roger fell asleep in the middle of my brilliant political tirade, and now he plans to sue me because I put him on the air, sleeping. Obviously, he's a liberal.
Snoring, not an option while listening to the Andrea Kaye Show, Tuesday mornings at 11 on Financial News and Talk.
You know I'm right. Y'all know I'm right.
Hello, I'm Matt, a student at Hillsdale College. Here is Hillsdale President Larry Arnn on the continuing relevance of the Constitution.
Many argue today that the Constitution is outdated because it addresses problems peculiar to the 18th century. Some parts of the Constitution do read rather quaintly. Consider the injunction against titles of nobility in Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. But is that so outdated? The purpose of the injunction is to prevent the government granting special privileges to some for partisan reasons. This strikes at the heart of the rule of law. The crony capitalism so common today is a place where the government bestows favors and tax dollars on some businesses to give them a leg up over others. This is exactly the kind of thing the Constitution was meant to prohibit. The Constitution is not so outdated after all.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.com.
And welcome back to the Sackheads Radio Show live here on the SHR Medium. Medium?
Medium.
We are a medium, actually. We kind of are a medium. That would have been a better name. How did we miss that? Sacco's our medium. Yeah. That's great, Sacco. Thanks for helping out with that one, pal.
I have another feel-good story.
Okay, good.
This is two feel good stories tonight.
2 in one night, baby. We're nailing it.
2 in one night. We're nailing it. So, have you heard that college professors have basically told the College Board to go back and redo their U.S. history exam, basically for their advanced placement program, because it is far too heavy on social politics and too light on key events in American history.
Like what?
Well, the College Board can't specifically dictate to individual schools what is being taught in their advanced placement classes. But they do write tests that about 500,000 students take each year, and therefore it influences the curriculum that the teachers teach. Teachers nowadays, they teach to the test, not for the sake of knowledge, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there were 55 historians who signed a letter basically to the board that says, and I'm going to quote, this is from Harvard University history professor Harvey Mansfield, and the story FoxNews.com, but what it says is, quote, "Lost in the new guidelines is the central role of the American founders in inspiring our country. Students are not led to the idea that America is an experiment in self-government, that all its struggles and troubles, its drama and heroes come back to its great ambition to make freedom and equality a reality. Instead of this, the guidelines present America as just another society, wandering, mistaken, prejudiced, and boring."
Well, we are. Haven't you turned on the news at all in the last 2 years?
No, I have, but that's why this is a feel-good story. You have a Harvard history professor calling out the College Board saying, hey, what's the problem? And here's the problem. There were Benjamin Franklin and even the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is like conspicuously absent or just completely minimized in these exams. I read a book, and you can get it. There's a couple websites you can get it from. As a matter of fact, you can get a lot of bookstores, but it's called The Real Benjamin Franklin.
Mm-hmm.
There's a series of 3 books: The Real George Washington, The Real Thomas Jefferson, The Real Benjamin Franklin. I've read them all. What I like about the books is they paint the picture of these great men, and they use a lot of their writings to support. They basically let them speak for themselves.
Right.
It's not like it's somebody's interpretation of what it was.
Right.
And after I read The Real Benjamin Franklin, he became one of my favorite. George Washington obviously is my favorite founder. But Ben Franklin is definitely a very close second. He was such a generous man. He was one that said, "Hey, we need to give people a hand up,
not a handout."
Not a handout. And he invented the Franklin stove. And he didn't patent it because he didn't want to make money on it, because he thought it was something that could benefit all Americans for warmth, for cooking, etc. Just a brilliant man, brilliant inventor, great statesman, and everything. So to have a college professor say this and have 55 of them sign on and basically call out the College Board on this, specifically about our American heritage and the founding of our country, I thought is great.
I think that's awesome. And I covered a story last week that was talking about an MIT professor. And hey, you know what? Maybe Massachusetts is on the rebound, and here's why. There was a MIT professor who is a weather specialist. That's his whole deal, was meteorology. Who's essentially saying, yeah, this whole global warming thing, out of control.
Right.
The seas, if they have warmed, which we can't prove yet, it was 3/100ths of a degree.
It was warming, though.
And he said there's only a 38% chance that the readings are accurate, because there are just so many parts of the ocean we cannot get to.
So it could have been warming at a much higher temperature than that, Sean.
Exactly. That's a good point.
Thanks.
So much so that this guy he's made such a case out of this. And Howie Carr, who's a writer and on the radio in Boston, I think he writes for The Blaze now, occasionally at Breitbart, covered this story and he essentially interviewed the guy, and the guy was just kind of laughing. Because he's like, yeah, you know what? This is all ridiculous.
It is. And it goes back to some of the things that you and I were talking about, where what they say is things that, what caused this great separation in wealth of America that causes gender and family identity issues and transforming. And we were talking about this just a little bit ago.
Right,
and I was like, we got to talk about it on the show.
They were saying the market revolution helped to widen the gap between the rich and the poor.
And
that's the curriculum.
I think you're quoting from the curriculum.
I am quoting from the curriculum. It shaped emerging middle and working classes and caused an increased separation between home and workplace, which led to the dramatic transformation in gender. What? And in family roles and expectations, I'm assuming they mean that women going into the workplace.
No, I think they're talking about gender roles. I think they're talking about, their...
The president of the college board, his name is David Coleman. He has pledged to revise the guidelines and said that the group agreed with the critics that history courses should foster a rich understanding of positive and inspiring events, individuals, and ideas, and should resist disproportionate focus on instances when Americans have failed to live up to the ideals on which our nations have founded.
Okay, so does that mean they're going to talk about civil rights movement instead of Benjamin Franklin? Which is fine, because Dr. Martin Luther King is in there. That's a big deal, right? As long as it's done in the correct context,
and listen,
not in a slanted context.
I've said time and again, when you talk about history, you can't ignore the bad things, but you also cannot ignore the amazing things that have happened in this country. Yes, have there been blemishes in our history? Yes, but
name one.
Just one?
Yeah,
the internment of Japanese Americans during World War II.
Okay, that's one. Now I feel guilty for making fun of their ships earlier.
I know. I knew I was going to bring that. Well, no, because they were Japanese Americans, so you weren't making fun of their ships.
Okay, that's
You're
true.
okay. You're in the clear.
I'm in the clear because they didn't attack us. Okay.
But a lot of times, things that went bad in this country were corrected pretty quick. Mm-hmm. Considering the age of our nation and the age of the world in modern society.
We talk about slavery, and within our Constitution, they set the whole ball in motion for the abolishment of slavery, the ending of it in the new territories, a drop dead date for the importation of slaves.
And we knew they knew they had to get the Constitution passed. They needed the South to sign on. So there was a caveat. It was left in with the intention of having it to be dissolved. They knew it's twice and back.
Okay. Now that makes sense.
But there were also white slaves involved as well. Slavery, the owning of another person, it didn't matter what race they were, was scheduled to be dissolved from our nation early.
Yeah, look,
and so much so that 300,000 people died trying to make it happen.
Look, the Muslim extremists enslaved our people.
Absolutely.
At the very beginning.
It was a much more accepted, and there's still slavery today, folks. You may not realize it, but there's slavery today.
The first slaveholder in the colonies was black.
Yes. And one of the most prominent.
Yeah.